Hare Krishna. We reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 1, Text 2, chapter entitled The Supreme Lord is Equal to Everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Cheva Narotamam Devim Sarasvati Vyasam Tato Jayamudhirayet Nashta Prayesho Badrishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Rutamash Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. So, text 2. Nahyas Syartha Suraganar Sakshan Nishreya Satmana Naiva Surebhyo Vidvesho Nodvegascha Gunasyahi Nahyasyartha Suraganai Sakshan Nishreya Satmana Naiva Surebhyo Vidvesho Nodvegascha Chagunasyahi. Please chant. Nahyasartha Kunaganai Sashani Shreya Satmana Namasarebhyo Vidvesho Matajis Nahyasartha Suraganai Satni Shreya Surebhyo Vidvesho Na, not he, certainly, Asya, his, Artha, benefit or interest, Suraganai, with the demigods, Sakshat, personally, Nishreyasya, of the highest bliss, Atmana, whose nature, Na, not, Eva, certainly, Asurebhya, for the demons, Vidvesha, envy, Na, not, Udvega, fear, Cha, and Agunasya, who possesses no material qualities. He, certainly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai. Lord Vishnu himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is a reservoir of all pleasure. Therefore, what benefit would he derive from siding with the demigods? What interest would he fulfill in this way? Since the Lord is transcendental, why should he fear the asuras? And how could he be envious of them? Purport. We should always remember the distinction between spiritual and material. That which is material is infected by material qualities, but these qualities cannot touch that which is spiritual or transcendental. Krishna is absolute, whether he is in the material world or spiritual world. When we see partiality in Krishna, this vision is due to his external energy. Otherwise, how could his enemies attain salvation after being killed by him? Everyone who deals with the Supreme Personality of Godhead gradually acquires the quality of the Lord. The more one advances in spiritual consciousness, the less he is affected by the duality of material qualities. The Supreme Lord, therefore, must certainly be freed from these qualities. His enmity and friendship are external features presented by the material energy. He is always transcendental. He is absolute, whether he kills or bestows his favor. Envy and friendship arise in one who is imperfect. We fear our enemies because in this material world we are always in need of help. The Lord, however, does not need anyone's help, for he is Atmarama. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9:26, Patram pushpam phalam toyam yo me bhaktya prayachati tattaham bhaktyupahritam asnami prayatatmanaha. If a devotee offers me with devotion a little leaf, a flower, fruit, or water, I shall accept it. Why does the Lord say this? Is he dependent on the offerings of the devotee? He is not actually dependent, but he likes to be dependent upon his devotee. This is his mercy. Similarly, he does not fear the asuras, that there is no question of partiality in the Supreme Personality of Godhead. First of all, I want to ask forgiveness that you have to listen to me, and I want to ask your blessings, especially Maharaj. I feel very embarrassed sitting here. I'll just try to speak less and quote more, so my imperfections and my foolishness will not affect you too much. Here we see the doubt which Maharaj Parikshit raises for the benefit of all of us, and he definitely would not have this doubt. But a lot of questions in Bhagavatam, Maharaj Parikshit asks for the benefit of people who would potentially come to the path of devotion, and have the doubts. And this particular story or line of question have a certain vector which I would like to push in a bit different direction, because I just wanted to take this part of Srila Prabhupada's purport, where he said that Krishna is independent, but he likes to be dependent on his devotees. So in relationship to demigods, in relationship to most of people of this world who worship Lord, there's a very simple, relationship. I'm sorry. We want something from God. We suffer, and we pray to God as a master, protector, and in this way, relationship develop if we follow the proper path. However, Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, and he came to give something which is, he came to give us science, he came to give us devotion, but a very special devotion, not the devotion which is usually given. And Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami talks about it in external reasons for the Lord's appearance. He said that when Krishna disappeared from the world, he was thinking that actually I want to give something, and the whole world, I need to come again, and I need to bring science of devotion to me. And he was thinking that the whole world is worshipping me in a mood of awe and reverence, but bhakti weakened by such sentiment does not satisfy me. But if the devotee thinks myself to be equal or inferior and himself to be superior, such devotion can actually conquer me. So Lord Chaitanya came to give this kind of devotion. Now we can take it or we can leave it. There's a lot of options. The path of bhakti has two ways to go. But the message which Lord Chaitanya and all our Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition brings is the path of Raganuga Bhakti. So this is a topic which is not talked about very much, and I just wanted to speak a little bit something to this esteemed assembly. Now we know that there are some conceptions that Raganuga Bhakti means, it's a very advanced stage and one does not follow rules and regulations. One is above rules and regulations, and which is not a fact. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. So let's first establish the tattva of Raganuga Bhakti. Actually, what are we practicing? Are we practicing Vaidhi Bhakti? Definitely, this is not a prominent element. I mean, just take a look at our prayers. Prayers to Tulasi Devi, prayers to a spiritual master in the morning. Song which we sing before Bhagavatam class, it's imbued by anything but Vaidhi sentiment. But Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in his Ragavartma Chandrika gives a definition, very, very simple actually definition of Raganuga Bhakti and Vaidhi Bhakti and disturbance to society. He says there's three things: that path of Vidhi mark followed with or driven by the desire, driven by spiritual greed. So you follow the path of Vidhi, you follow rules and regulation, but your motivation is some spiritual greed. Now we'll talk about what the spiritual greed is. So he says this is called Raganuga Bhakti. So take a note, rules and regulation, but the motivation is different. Now he says if you follow rules and regulation driven by the fear of not following rules and regulation will bring you precarious result, then this is called Vaidhi Bhakti. And not following Vidhis or not following rules and regulation is called disturbance to society. Yeah? And he gives a verse, Shruti Smriti Puranadi Pancharatri, Vidhim Vina, Aikantiki Harer Bhaktir, Utpatayaiva Kalpate. So first thing we need to get clear, Raganuga Bhakti is something which Lord Chaitanya came to give. He came to give nothing else. Second is that's what is practiced by all Gaudiya Vaishnavas, or should be practiced by all Gaudiya Vaishnavas. And this kind of relationship, again, we're speaking about relationship, and then in this chapter of Bhagavatam will be described that Krishna is actually impartial to everybody. He always, according to the way we want to reciprocate with the Lord, he reciprocates, and always for our benefit. So if we develop the desire to reciprocate with the Lord the way he finds the best, it will be the best reciprocation, no doubt about it. It's not like we need to think how to reciprocate with him. He says, I want, and I'm conquered, actually, by such kind of love. So, coming back, so we just established in the past how we develop relationship with Krishna. So next, some have conception, and it's another misconception, just by practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, when one matures, then one comes to the platform of Raganuga. This is a misconception, another misconception, because practicing Vaidhi Bhakti, one can develop Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema in Vaidhi Bhakti. I mean, this is potent devotional path. The destination, however, is Vaikuntha or Dwaraka Dham, at the topmost, as a topmost destination. One can never enter Goloka Vrindavan, the destination which, again, Lord Chaitanya came to give and which Gaudiya Vaishnavas aspire for, by practicing Vaidhi Bhakti. It's not possible. It's just not happening. And so at some point, one should understand, or we should understand what we're doing and start to approach the threshold of Raganuga, and also talk about it, educate ourselves, devotees, about it. It's not a forbidden topic. It is a topic which is highly relevant to the spiritual life of Gaudiya Vaishnavas, and that's who we are. So what it is, sometimes we also have a conception that Raganuga Bhakti can be started only when one is very pure and very advanced. Not according to the opinion of Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Again, you see, the book called Ragavartma Chandrika is his expansion upon the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, chapter 15 and 16, which deals with Raganuga Bhakti. He actually compiled a specific book to give a full science of, a comprehensive science of our path of devotion, because it's very, very important that our path is followed as it should be. Now he says that one could start, not that he says one could start, he says, now I will explain to all of you, to all our readers, how one progresses, how Raganuga Bhakti progresses through the stages of Anartha Nivriti, Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhava, and Prema. So he very clearly established that even before Anartha Nivriti, one could start walk on this path. So what is this path actually? What characterizes this path? And this path primarily characterized that one has a greed, or develops a greed, inspiration to follow one of the dear associates of Lord in Vrindavan, Ragatmika Bhakta, those who have unalloyed, pure, all-absorbing devotion to the Lord. If one aspires for that kind of law, for that kind of love, and then finds a particular devotee of Vrindavan which inspires him or her the most, wants to follow the mood of this love, this is the path of Raganuga Bhakti. Now there's different stages. Then he says, in sadhaka form, one should practice, follow the, sadhaka rupa of the dear devotee, namely follow rule and regulation and so on. In siddha form, one have to follow the activities of devotee he aspires for in a spiritual world. Now, this is advanced stage, so maybe we cannot start from there. In fact, Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that if one tries to conceive or meditate about one's siddha deha, or mentally conceived spiritual body, which Rupa Goswami speaks about, before stage of asakti, one's intelligence becomes bewildered. So this part of Raganuga sadhana is way ahead to some of us, and maybe to some of us it's just what we do, and maybe to some of us it's been already. So, I don't know. Everyone would know for themselves. But what would it mean for somebody who, struggling with the senses, whatever, anartha nivriti here and there, sometimes thick, sometimes thin, anishtata bhakti, which hits us for many years and decades and whatnot. So it is Srila Prabhupada in Nectar of Instruction, in the 8th verse of Nectar of Instruction, which actually deals or explains, this is the essence of all advice, right? Rupa Goswami says, this is the essence of all advice. One should always 24 hours, Srila Prabhupada translates 24 hours, think about, meditate, glorify the, name, pastimes, activities of the Lord, and his associates in Vrindavan should inspire to follow in their footsteps. If I start reading the quotes, then we'll not progress very far by the time now. But you all know the verse, right? So in his purport, Srila Prabhupada gives the breakdown of stages of Raganuga sadhana. And he starts like this. From the neophyte stage, one should start to hear about Krishna Katha, which is called Shravana Dasha. So Shravana Dasha, this is the first stage. And this is where anybody can start. And this is anybody, this is Shravanam, right? It's anywhere when anybody should start. Now, how do we, we hear so much. One need to have the mood or greed to follow the inhabitant of Vrindavan, your dear associate. But if you don't hear about such person regularly, incessantly, focused, how this greed will ever develop? So first thing is to have a greed for a greed, So that's, or desire to have a desire, because that desire is not cheap. Srila Prabhupada says in Nectar of Devotion, one really has this greed to follow at the very advanced stage. And this is true. When really greed fructifies in our heart, it means it pulls us beyond anything else. We ever had greed for anything in this world, right? When you're really greedy, when you really want something, you don't need rules and regulation. You just go for it. You're pulled by a higher force. Therefore, Raganuga Bhakti, and again, this is the path which we follow, but if we're not aware and we don't know where to, put emphasis in our life, then we will not take full advantage. Now, if you understand Shravana Dasha, and particularly here in Krishna Lila in Vrindavan, that's how I can start actually even traverse this path. There's no other way. If we don't hear about Krishna Lila in Vrindavan, how we will never be attached to activity of dear devotee of Krishna. So Shravana Dasha, this is the entering door which anybody can start with. And another very, very important Shravana which one can do to develop greed is to, first of all, associate with greedy people, right? So your association will make your aspiration. We need to try to find association of those who have high aspiration in bhakti and who inspire us to have such higher aspiration. And we should associate also with the moods and the prayers of our acharyas who expressed such greed. If we read the prayers of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur or Srila Narottam Das Thakur, the whole books, 2 books, Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana, we know the story, right? Somebody came to Gaura Das Babaji Maharaj and asked, how do I develop, bhakti, how I become devotee, and whatever, Prema Bhakti, I don't remember what exactly he asked. And he said, you just need 2 annas. You just need, I says, what's the point? Why I need so less money? He said, you just go to the market and buy the 2 books, Prema Bhakti Chandrika and Prarthana, you read it, and you get there. Now, those who read these books with understanding what actually longing Srila Narottam Das Thakur expresses in those books would start understanding what actually Gaura Babaji Maharaj meant. Because these books are full of this greed, which is most difficult to attain. This greed can become contagious. This greed can rob into a stone-like heart, which just hanker for material things, basically, And we know we need to become devotees of Krishna. We've heard about it many times. But we pull, I'm not addressing my audience because I know there's so many advanced devotees and the topics is totally not new to all of you. Just for my own purification, I'm speaking in generic terms, so please do not mind that. So what can change this heart? When we read, we associate with our child, we read with devotees who have this mood, there's some possibility that this mood, by their mercy, will enter into our heart and will become our own mood. So this is when we could say, oh, we own this greed. Of course, devotee who has greed think he has nothing. He always wants more. As greedy people, they never satisfy. Same way, the more devotee develops the greed, the more he thinks he has nothing. So that's a good sign. That's a good symptom. But if we fail to do that, if we don't put enough endeavor, first of all, if we don't have knowledge, that's first thing about these topics. And then, if we have this knowledge and we don't put enough endeavor, then what is the chance that it will ever happen? Now, we know the Lord Chaitanya is most merciful. And by serving Lord Chaitanya, all what is needed, what is lacking, will be manifested, right? But in which way? Usually we think it's just boom, what to say. There's some explosion in the heart, and from hard-hearted, materialistic devotee who struggles with the senses, you become ecstatic, lover of Krishna, eligible to enter Goloka Vrindavan and most intimate pastimes of the Lord. And this can happen, this is called Kripa Siddhi, right? When Srila Prabhupada says, this is extremely rare. So, we all hope for Kripa Siddhi, and we know we are, mercy cases, we need a lot of Kripa, but the normal or traditional way how you get a Kripa is by following sadhana bhakti. Now sadhana bhakti, unlike karma mimamsa, which people think, I do something and these guys have to give me. No. Sadhana bhakti means we traversing the path of the beggars, and the only thing we do, we beg for causeless mercy. Why it is causeless? Because we can never deserve it. And Krishna, out of his kindness, his devotees out of his kindness, Lord Chaitanya, Lord Nityananda, out of their kindness, seeing our eagerness, endeavor, our desire to attain the mercy, they could give or not give. It's still up to them, but at least this is the most recommended process of sadhana bhakti. Sadhana bhakti means that's how you attain perfection. Sadhana bhakti produces sadhya. So to start with the sadhana bhakti, which is meant for us, which is our own, and which is called Raganuga sadhana bhakti, one should give enough time to hear about Krishna, pastimes with his devotees in Vrindavan. One needs to give time to associate with like-minded, affectionate, and advanced devotees, or cultivate sadhu sangha. Give enough time. By cultivating these topics, one should try to connect with the mood of the acharyas. And that's what we do, right? Every morning we ask for something. Moreya bilas kunja diyavas. What are we asking for? I mean, many devotees, knowing translation, singing it for many years, have no clue what they're asking for. And this is, I've been asking quite a number of devotees, and I was surprised that 90% they don't understand what they ask for. So we're asking that we are given the residence. Now this is, official, right? Every morning we ask Tulasi Devi to give us the residence in the pastimes grove, Vilas Kunja of Vrindavan. What is Vilas Kunja? It's Radha and Krishna perform their conjugal pastimes there. And we want to live there and always look at their faces. Nayane Hiriba Sada, Jugalaru Parash. So this is prayer for those who aspire for Madhurya Bhakti. Neither the one who aspires for Dasya, Sakya, or Vatsalya should even sing this song, because that's not what they want. They should sing, what is it? Idam te vapurnatha gopala balam sadame manasya virastam ki manyai. Right, that is the aspiration of Vatsalya Bhakta, and so on and so forth. So we should know what is nourishing, first of all, Raganuga Bhakti, and then what is nourishing our particular devotion. Now we have prayers to the Guru, right? Nikunja yuna rati kelesidya yale biryuktira pekshaniya. What we're thinking of, what Guru is doing in his spiritually perfected form, and that how we offer him obeisances every morning, right? I think you know. So, like that, we have path of Raganuga, and in this path of Raganuga, the most actually prominent element, or the most prominent rasa which is given by most of our acharyas is Madhurya. That's what they aspire for. That's what they pray for. You read Prema Bhakti Chandrika, you read Prarthana, you read Siddha Lalasa prayers of Gita, Mala of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. You hear what Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati wanted to hear when he was passing from this world, right? He wanted to hear Govardhan Dashakan, wanted to hear Shri Rupa Manjari Pada. And in fact, all our acharyas, if we know their prayers, their longings, they all want to be followers of Rupa Manjari. Now, are we obliged? No, we are not obliged to follow this path. Maybe we have inclination for Sakya. Maybe we have inclination for Dasya or for Vatsalya. But how one will develop it? How one will find this out? Unless one comes in contact with the Leelas, which will get some things going in the heart, hopefully, at some point of time. No way. So, anyway, that was my small message for today, and I hope I didn't create too much disturbance by it. Hare Krishna. If you have any comments, please. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you. Sorry for that delay. Prabhu, I just wanted to say I read something very recently where Srila Prabhupada was saying, and the topics that you've spoken about today, it's something that many devotees get very involved in. And they also sometimes get a bit carried away. Oh, well, I need to meditate on what my Sarup Siddha will be. I need to be thinking of what my, spiritual form is, etc., which, from my understanding, you seem to be inclining to. And I read something very interesting where Srila Prabhupada said, actually, he said, just like you don't have to teach a young boy and you don't have to teach a young girl how to be attracted to each other. It's absolutely a natural instinctive thing. So Prabhupada was similarly saying that you don't have to, try and meditate on what your Sarup Siddha could be or what my Leela could be. You perform your service. And just like a young boy and a young girl, they're not taught how to be attracted to each other. So similarly, our manifestation will happen naturally. And I just would like to caution devotees not to be too wrapped up in this thing. First, we have to come to the platform of I'm not this body before we get very caught up in Ras Leela and Krishna Leela, etc. And I would also caution devotees, please read Srila Prabhupada's books very thoroughly. Everything is contained in Srila Prabhupada's books. And I recently was editing a book for Priti Prabhu from the Gurukul. And he was saying in his book that actually the more we become purified and the more we become advanced in Krishna consciousness, then Srila Prabhupada's books in the many different layers will be manifested to us. So sometimes non-ISKCON Vaishnavas will criticize and say, oh, well, Srila Prabhupada, he only gave you the basics. He didn't give you everything. And I absolutely, totally, 110% refute that everything is contained in Srila Prabhupada's books. And as you make advancement and as you study more carefully, then all of this different information will be relayed to you. So I would like to caution devotees, before you go off reading lots of different books by all of our Goswamis, please make a very thorough study of Srila Prabhupada's books and try to understand Srila Prabhupada's mood. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. What can I say? I just bow down to your comment. And if I may, because you're definitely my senior, at the same time, we hear this in ISKCON always. I mean, this is the thing what we hear. Just perform your service, be sincere, everything will be revealed. Now, how it will be revealed, nobody tells. And by shutting devotees' interest in such a way, some sincere devotees go off, actually. And it is, you are right, everything in Srila Prabhupada's book, but somehow we won't only see the basics. I'm not saying you're saying this, I'm just trying to. We only want to see the basics, and we always think we never advanced enough. Devotees 10, 20, 30 years, 40 years in the movement, still not advanced enough to read Srila Prabhupada's books, hear what Srila Prabhupada also asked us to read, the books of Goswamis, right? It's not that Srila Prabhupada, he said everything in his books, yes, everything in Srila Prabhupada's books, and the links, you click, right? You read Goswami's book, read this and that, then you read this, then you see more in Srila Prabhupada's books. Amazingly, like one thing I wanted to read you, which I just recently discovered. Srila Prabhupada in his Krishna book, in the 46th chapter, he said that Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur has given us a transcendental literature entitled Krishna Bhavanamrita, which is full of Krishna's pastimes. Devotees can remain absorbed in Krishna thought by reading such books. This is Srila Prabhupada's direct words, recommended us, if you want to be absorbed in thought of Krishna, to read Krishna Bhavanamrita. Now, interestingly, just the same sentence was edited, and sometimes books edited for reasons, I don't know, and for good reasons, many editing of Srila Prabhupada's book done for a good reason. I do not know why this editing was done. So in original book, Prabhupada said, devotees can remain absorbed in Krishna thought by reading such books. But in a new, it said exalted devotees can remain absorbed in the thoughts by reading such book. So, if you dare to ever read this book, they would ask you, are you exalted? Of course, we're never exalted, right? So don't read. I see another danger in our movement, and I'm sorry to say, I see that the danger to become too rasic. I have seen that's really not a big danger. Big danger to become dry, to become disinterested in devotional life, to become materialistic, and spend, what our society, most of devotees in our society, making money to live, pursuing their career, trying to raise their children, sometimes show up, to Sunday feast to speak about social life. I mean, this is real danger. The real danger if we don't get taste in how many, I personally know quite a number of devotees who cultivate their relationship with Krishna. I don't know a single one of them who A, left ISKCON, B, became Sahaja. I've seen only intensity in their spiritual life, seriousness in their sadhana, wake up very early in the morning, don't do any nonsense, chant a lot, read a lot, associate a lot, and they don't need to leave ISKCON. Yeah? Everything can be happening in Srila Prabhupada's house. He built this house. Gauravani Pracharine, that's what Srila Prabhupada came to give. And that's what Lord Chaitanya came to give. He came to give this bhakti. So warning should be on two sides. Or be warned to enter it in an unscrupulous mind. Because you can become sahaja, you can become this and that. That's true. It's warning. But for us, the warning became like, you should be careful to use a fire and gas to cook, right? But nobody tells you don't use it at all. One should be careful to use knife, to cut the vegetables. But we use it with precaution. So warning and be cautious, yes, by all means. And that's what Srila Prabhupada does, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati does, especially these two recent acharyas, they very much cautioned, because at the time of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati, a lot of unscrupulous men were flourishing, in the name of Raganuga, wearing saris, having sex, and this and that. So it was a very, very serious issue. So yeah, we should be very cautious, maintain a proper association, but it doesn't mean we should not step. And then, as you Mataji says, there's a lot of misconception, should I think about spiritual body? Once you go there and you don't have any guide, you don't have any guidance, you can go anywhere, Therefore, it's important that we also give our devotees guidance, what it means to follow the path of Raganuga. And yeah, Bhaktivinoda Thakur warns, don't think about spiritual body unless you're on the stage of Asakti, That it will be automatically revealed by following the path of Raganuga, not by following the path of Vaidhi. So that another danger, again, to become dry, to become unenthusiastic. One devotee I personally know, he wanted to commit suicide, before he actually stepped and he discovered there's some juice, in spiritual life. He was dry spiritually, he was zero materially, he had nothing, really nothing to grab to. And I know a lot of dry devotees who just find only solace in material success. Or if they can make money, if the business is flourishing, then they can also practice devotion because life is happening. But if materially nothing happening, spiritual, I'm not being unrealistic. I'm not saying everybody is like this. I know devotees like this. And I know not less devotees like this. So maybe my experience is like that, and it is definitely limited. But the danger is absolutely on both sides. So, carefully, I think it's good to proceed, in my humble opinion. Yes, Devaki Mataji.
Just a little comment. This greed you were speaking about, according to my understanding, we mainly cultivate this in chanting. When we
Through chanting?
Yes.
Yes.
When we chant, longing for the relationship, longing to serve, that's how we actually connect with Radharani.
Yes.
The Hare is Radharani's energy. So the main reason why people get dry is because they don't get on deeper levels of chanting. In the chanting, then everything else will be revealed. Huh?
Yes. So chanting, again, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says, and he's commenting on verse from Bhakti Rasamrita Singh, that the angas of bhakti should be practiced as they are, with the spiritual longing. So meaning hearing and chanting, and the main anga, of course, chanting. Now, why hearing is important is to give us the direction, how to direct our greed in chanting. And chanting is the main, so both are needed. And again, most of devotees I know who trying to walk the path of aspiring for greed, they chant a lot. A lot. So there's no way. Chanting is so important. But they became motivated to chant a lot and developing relationship because it's true. This is Yugala mantra, Radha and Krishna, Hare Krishna. This is the best way to approach Radha and Krishna in their most accessible and most merciful form. So we should never think, I just, go and think about it and, whatever, chanting. No, this is a cheating. No. Chanting would be the first place where you would endeavor for the... Okay, thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.